Welcome back, Boss Economics World fans. It's your boy, the host with the most economic roast, here to break down the clown show that is Washington's economic policy. Today, we're diving headfirst into the trade war dumpster fire, starring none other than Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, President Trump's BFF, and a government so incompetent it could tank the economy faster than you can say, tariff tantrum. Buckle up, because this is gonna be a wild ride, and trust me, the only winners here are the popcorn vendors watching this mess unfold. Let's start with the headlines, shall we? As of July 2025, the Trump administration is racing against a self-imposed deadline of July 9 to ink a slew of trade deals, with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick front and center, hyping up massive wins, like a used car salesman on a caffeine binge. So far, we've got skeleton agreements with the UK and China, and a shiny new deal with Vietnam announced on July 2, 2025. Lutnick's out there on Bloomberg TV, chest puffed out, promising a whole bunch of deals in the next week. Sounds great, right? America first, baby. Jobs. Factories. Prosperity. Except, hold up. Let's zoom out from the hype machine and look at what's really happening. These so-called deals are nothing more than frameworks, half-baked, vague promises that'll take years to flesh out, if ever. Analysts are already warning that the rush to declare victory by July 9 is forcing Trump's team to settle for deals so thin, you could use them as tissue paper. And let's not forget the drama, threats of tariffs, deadlines delayed, threats walked back. It's like watching a soap opera, except the stakes are your 401k and the global economy. So, what's the big picture here? On the surface, it looks like a classic Trumpian circus, lots of noise, lots of swagger, but very little substance. But folks, here at Boss Economics World, we don't stop at the surface. Oh no, we're gonna dig deep, peel back the layers, and expose the economic dumpster fire lurking underneath. Because let me tell you, this isn't just about trade deals, it's about a government so reckless, so ideologically drunk on America first dogma, that it's setting us up for a recession that'll make the great financial crisis look like a picnic. Now, let's get to the meat of it. What's really going on behind this trade war madness? Spoiler alert, it's a masterclass in economic mismanagement, courtesy of Trump, Lutnick, and their merry band of MAGA yes men. Here's the deal, trade wars sound sexy on the campaign trail, but in reality, they're a wrecking ball to economic stability. And the data backs me up. First off, let's talk tariffs. Trump and his trade hawks, including Lutnick, have been swinging the tariff hammer like it's Thor's Mjolnir, claiming it'll bring manufacturing back to the US and stick it to countries like China. But here's the cold, hard truth, tariffs are a tax on American consumers and businesses. According to a 2024 study by the National Bureau of Economic Research, Trump's tariffs from his first term cost American consumers $40 billion annually in higher prices. Fast forward to 2025, and the Peterson Institute for International Economics estimates that the latest round of reciprocal tariffs, which Lutnick initially cheered on before flip-flopping, could shave 1.3% off US GDP by 2026. That's right, folks, we're talking about a self-inflicted wound to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars. And who's getting hit the hardest? Small businesses, the backbone of the American economy. The National Federation of Independent Businesses reported in June 2025 that 68% of small business owners cited rising input costs due to tariffs as their top concern, with 45% saying they've had to lay off workers to stay afloat. Meanwhile, financial markets are having a full-on panic attack. The S&P 500 dropped 3.2% in the week following Trump's tariff threats in May 2025, and the bond market is a mess, with 10-year Treasury yield spiking to 4.8%, the highest since the post-COVID recovery. Volatility? Through the roof. Confidence? In the gutter. But wait, there's more. Let's talk about the ripple effects. Global supply chains, you know, the thing that keeps the world economy humming, are in shambles. A 2025 report from the World Trade Organization warns that ongoing trade tensions could reduce global trade growth by 2.5% annually, pushing countries like Vietnam, ironic, given the New Deal, and Mexico into economic slowdowns. And guess what? When our trading partners suffer, we suffer too. Exports of U.S. agricultural products, already battered by retaliatory tariffs from China, fell by 15% year-over-year in Q2 2025, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Farmers are going bankrupt, rural communities are dying, and Lutnick's out there calling it a massive win. Tell that to the soybean farmer in Iowa who's selling his land to pay off debts, Howard. Now, let's get to the root of the problem, the real reason this trade war circus is careening off the rails. It's not just about bad policy, it's about a government that's more interested in scoring political points than solving economic problems. And at the heart of it all is Howard Lutnick, the billionaire Wall Street bro turned commerce secretary, whose main qualification seems to be his bromance with Trump. Lutnick's a fascinating case study in cronyism. This is a guy who spent decades at Cantor Fitzgerald, raking in hundreds of millions while positioning himself as a scrappy outsider, a laughable claim for someone who just bought a $25 million DC mansion, the most expensive home sale in the city's history, by the way. He's not here to serve the American people, he's here to serve Trump's ego. And the data shows it. According to a June 2025 report from Public Citizen, Lutnick's Commerce Department has prioritized photo ops and TV appearances over substantive policy work, with staff turnover at the agency reaching 30%, the highest in a decade, as career professionals flee the chaos. But it's not just Lutnick. The entire Trump trade team, Lutnick, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, and Trade Representative Jamieson Greer, is a dysfunctional mess. Foreign negotiators are tearing their hair out trying to figure out who's actually in charge, with one European diplomat quoted in Politico as saying, "It's like negotiating with a three-headed hydra, except none of the heads agree on anything." This isn't leadership, it's a clown show. And the result? Half-baked deals, pissed-off allies, and an economy teetering on the edge. Oh, and let's not forget the ideological rot at the core of this administration. Trump's America First agenda sounds patriotic, but in practice, it's economic suicide. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce, hardly a bastion of socialism, warned in May 2025 that the administration's trade policies could cost 2.6 million American jobs by 2027 if the tariff wars escalate. Meanwhile, Trump's obsession with bashing the Federal Reserve, echoed by Lutnick, of course, is undermining confidence in monetary policy at a time when we need stability most. Inflation is already ticking up, 4.1% year-over-year in June 2025, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and the Fed's hands are tied, thanks to political pressure from the White House. Stagflation, anyone? So, where does this leave us? Spoiler alert, it's not good. The warning signs of a recession are flashing red, and the government's reckless trade policies are pouring fuel on the fire. The Conference Board's leading economic index has been declining for 6 straight months as of July 2025, signaling a high risk of contraction within the next year. Consumer confidence, as measured by the University of Michigan, hit its lowest level since 2022 in June 2025, with 72% of respondents citing economic uncertainty as their top concern. And don't even get me started on the housing market, with mortgage rates climbing to 7.5%, thanks, tariff-induced bond market chaos. Home sales are down 18% year-over-year, per the National Association of Realtors. But hey, at least Lutnick's got his Gold Card program, right? That's the brilliant idea where foreign investors can buy U.S. citizenship for a cool $5 million. Because nothing screams, America First, like selling residency to oligarchs while American farmers lose their land and small businesses shut their doors. Priorities, people. Here's the bottom line, folks, this trade war madness is a textbook example of government incompetence driving us straight into an economic ditch. The Trump administration, with Lutnick as its cheerleader-in-chief, is more interested in flexing for the cameras than fixing the economy. And we, the American people, are the ones paying the price, higher costs, lost jobs, and a future that looks bleaker by the day. So, what's the solution? Fire the clowns, for starters. We need leaders who understand economics, not sycophants who parrot MAGA talking points. We need trade policies based on data and reason, not ideology and ego. And most of all, we need a government that puts the American people first, not Trump's poll numbers. Until then, keep your eyes peeled, Boss Economics World fans, because this circus is far from over. And hey, if the economy tanks, at least we'll have Lutnick's $25 million mansion to crash at, right? Stay woke, stay broke, and I'll see you in the next episode, where we'll roast whoever's screwing up the economy next. This has been Boss Economics World, where we call out the economic BS so you don't have to. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's keep fighting the good fight against government incompetence. Peace out.